6:01 PM. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Eileen, will you conduct roll call?
Trustee Barheit,
Here.
trustee Young,
Here.
trustee Hopkins,
Here.
trustee Ant,
Here.
trustee Sweetie,
Here.
trustee Dave,
Here.
and president Beal.
Here. Eileen, have we met open meeting compliance check?
We have met it.
Okay. Do we have approval of the agenda sequence? Is there any necessary changes? All good? All right. Okay, at this time, I will take public comments on agenda items only. So Michelle Goodeve, is that how you say it? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Michelle Goody, but I own Environments and we have an office at 961 South. And so,
Oh. Gotcha, go ahead.
okay, so I'm new to this. So just bear with me. I just sent some information over. Can you hear me? Okay, I sent some information over to Brad, requesting to use the Silver Lake Beach off of Cogswell for a very small revenue project that we're doing for a client on Silver Lake. So we would be staging our long reach excavator right at the edge of the water on the sand. And then our dump truck and or dump trailer would be directly behind the long reach to remove the material. So we're anticipating removing about 6 barge loads of sand and possibly a little bit of clay. We would expect to restore the area to the conditions that we found it. We're anticipating that the project will take 3 to possibly at the most 5 business days, provided the weather cooperates and we're not getting white caps out on the water for 3 days after we stage the equipment. So our dump trailers would be watertight. It's not going to be a completely clean process. Dredging can be a little messy, so I just want to make everybody aware. So that's kind of where we sit. We wanted to use the WDNR's launch, but unfortunately, we'd have to remove and create a long channel for the equipment to get in and out. And that would end up being significantly more than the project itself. Question?
Would the boat launch over by Manor Drive across from the BP station be more adequate for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta ask the chief over there, is that a designated boat launch or is it a fire lane?
It actually serves both purposes, primarily a boat project.
Okay,
So this is agenda item number 1.
okay. But no, I'm just saying it's so I mean, there would be more.
We could use either one. We initially thought we could use just because I don't know how busy the boat launch is going to be. And as of right now, if this we were to get the stamp of approval, we'd be looking at doing the work the week of Memorial Day. So I know that we're into boating season at that point. And I don't know that we would be able to share the launch per se. Once the piece of equipment is in place, it really needs to stay there. As far as it's built, so we would have a push boat and barge. The barge is going to come, would need to be within 20 feet of the shore. And then what will happen is the long reach excavator will come out, scoop a bucket, take a bucket, which is approximately 1 cubic yard of material. It has weep holes in it for the water to drain. And then it has to come in a little bit because otherwise it would tip over. to about 20 to 25, maximum 25 feet, and then it would be swinging that material and putting it into the dump truck and or dump trailer.
What size excavator is that? You know?
The long reach?
Yes. Yeah, I just want to see what kind of counterweight it has. And
If
that,
you want to see it, you can drive by our shop.
how long is your arch?
Can I just,
Go ahead, sorry.
first, this is agenda item number 1, so I would like to ask if we have a motion first.
This is public comments. already
Sorry.
replaced.
This is Michelle Goody, 961 South Cogswell Drive, requests use of boat launch or near the beach at DeWitt Park for a dredging project for a client located at 27576 Silver Lake Road. So do I have a motion?
I would move to approve to let them do it, at either one that.
Do I have a motion?
Pardon?
To speak about it?
Yep.
Okay, so Faber, do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Gant. Okay,
Now I have,
do we have any questions?
where is the material going to be dumped after it's taken out?
Most likely it will go to Paul Fort's nursery and or it will go to our yard. So.
What precludes you from starting only on Memorial Day? Why can't you start sooner or later?
We can do later. Later is not a problem. We can't start sooner because our construction crew is tied up with another job that actually just started today. And it's gonna take about 2.5 weeks. So as far as our personnel, we just don't have the personnel.
And where are the dump trucks? If you were to use DeWitt Park, are the dump trucks going to back down towards the lake for this? And is that a wide enough area to get down in through there?
You've had dump trucks in your city, it'll be tight. If there's a concern, I know I received a couple of phone calls a day about when they're gonna do it in regards to Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Week after, is a very busy time for both the boat launch and the park. This weekend, there was a lot of people already at it, so.
Yeah, the boat launch itself, almost at the start of boating season, there is no good time. Because much like you said, it's 5 business days, and if you get one rain out, you're looking at a weekend, either front or rear. And I can tell you right now, that's a busy place down there.
It's, like I said, we're saying 3 to 5 days to be safe. Again, provided the weather cooperates, we think it's going to be 3 days, a day of mobilization, a day of work, and then a day of demo. But I can't control the weather, so.
Is there any chance to talk to Mr. Sullivan at Copper Bottom?
We did talk to Mr. Sullivan out there.
Okay, all right.
We actually worked with him last year.
Yeah.
He got some flack from some of the people that, I believe they may be renting I'm not a builder, so I apologize. The
Slips.
slips. And they said, we didn't like this here and we didn't want to, we don't want it to happen again. So Brian is a little hesitant. We did actually end up restoring, we ended up putting a ton of rock at the end of his launch, because of when you put your boat in, people have a tendency to gun their engine or something like that. So it was
Power up.
What's that?
It's a power up on your
There you go.
trailer.
The only thing I know about boating is I like to be on a boat and I know to bring the beer. So other than that, that's what I know.
Whereabouts at DeWitt Park would you propose storing this equipment when it's not in use on would it be the south end or the north end? Mike?
Only access.
No, but storing the equipment itself by that big old tree that hangs over?
No, there's actually on the south or the north end of the beach area there.
That's the access.
North end, I'm sorry. not-
Yeah.
not right,
But I mean, you could, if they're gonna do this, I mean, if we allow them to do this at the park, I mean, can you kind of fence this off to where during the day or evening when you're not there, because you get, the park, the kids, you got this and you got that.
Right. Kids crawling on the equipment.
Yeah.
We could certainly fence it off. That's all.
And should a child manage to get around your fence, You're going to be responsible for any injuries that may have been incurred by that said child?
I can't speak to that, because I'm not the owner of the company, I'm just here as.
I'd like to know that answer.
Yeah, we're gonna need to know that. And then as far as any damage from this, you'll repair that back
Yeah.
to, okay.
And we can,
So I believe it would be, if the board's in favor, we would need some sort of agreement.
Yep.
If good liability, damage repair. Standard.
What is the standard liability, Rich? I mean, is it $1 million?
Yeah, probably, but you have, sure they have general liability insurance.
we do it.
That probably is the easy part.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually $1 million.
I would suggest a certificate of insurance, possibly listing the village of Salem Lakes as additional insured.
We can do that. That's fine.
And I myself think it would create less liability if it wasn't during the holiday week.
Okay.
Kids will be out of school, people are gonna be picnicking and whatnot, and you know,
That's just as soon as we can reflect financial, we're obviously here working to partner with you, so we work around whatever our schedule. is.
Does anybody have any suggestions on timing?
Not during the holiday, that's for sure. You're creating more of a hazard for boaters, everybody.
yeah.
I mean, that's large equipment, that's heavy iron.
Right.
There's no way. I mean, absolutely not during the holiday. I would even,
It'll be during the weekdays, right?
Mhm.
you still having out of towners come up for the weekends. Yeah, so
I'm just curious as to when Riverview lets out.
They-
Be there all weekend.
It would be.
I'm curious when
I think
Riverview
the
would
second of
graduate.
June. I think it's the 2nd of June.
Is it that early?
I think so.
Wow. It's not much time then.
Well, perhaps the second week in June.
Make a comment.
Yes,
She mentioned our company is being a place to dump the soil. They have dumped some soil there in the past, but no permission was asked for or granted for this year. So
okay.
they want to make that.
Can I make a comment, please?
Yeah.
I mean, I am here representing the parks and I'm very concerned. That is the only park, that's the only beach we have in Silver Lake. DeWitt Park, it's not a very big park or beach. If anybody's been there, it's very small and I think it's very dangerous. And you're taking away the one area that's open to families. I don't know who mentioned it, but driving by there over the weekend, there was a lot of people there already. And I feel like the beach needs help anyways. It needs improvements, in my opinion. And what could that do to the area, even if it's replaced, but also the children? I mean,
Yeah.
that is a place that the kids, and then they're out of, so Memorial Day weekend's gonna be hard. Then they're out of school, and that's, I mean, I grew up in Silver Lake, we walked to the beach, that was our summer, until we could go to Silver Lake Park when I was, upper grade school, but these young children aren't going to be able to, some of them maybe can go to Silver Lake Park through the Ice House Trail, but for myself, my children obviously are grown, I have grandchildren, not that they'll go, but as a parks representative, I feel that's a big concern.
Yeah. Mike, what about the point where we used to shoot off fireworks? Is that feasible?
We don't, not been out there, I'm not sure if the equipment would. The dump trucks are heavy. Especially coming out there with wet. But,
We use Brian Sullivan's barge from when we used to have.
Off the
we had
point,
Summer beats.
off the point?
We drove out kind of to the middle of the lake. We didn't do it off the point, so we used his barge, put plywood down. And then pulled it out to the middle of the lake and then from a neighboring boat or, got a distance around and then had the device in another boat. But yeah, it was basically his boat was like seen it floating and, it's like a pontoon with nothing on it.
Wow.
I personally would prefer to see it at the boat landing / fire lane. We have difficulty there. It's wider. We have over the last number of years have had quite a problem with people parking in the no parking area across the street. So if this were to block some of that, it wouldn't bother me at all.
Could we shut the boat launch down for a week to accommodate that? I mean, it's asking for quite a bit, you know? And it'd still be easy to go over the Copper Bottom and kind of, and that, you know, instead of going halfway across the lake, you got, you know, a quarter of that, so.
And there's no chance of moving it up 1 week,
Oh, we can move, no, we can.
To whenever.
It's
moving it back. I mean, like
It's
the week before Memorial Day, you can,
Oh, no.
no?
No, you know, once you get equipment in place and you have a, you know, contract, a deadline we have to meet, so that's not we could certainly move it back. Maybe later in the season.
Yeah.
My experience over the years is that it's very difficult to get a permit from the DNR to be able to do something like this. And they have, and I should have shown it here in our literature. They've been, you know, successful in getting that permit from the DNR. I'd hate to hold anything up based on our end.
Well, but our end is what's important for the residents of the village. I mean,
And safety.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, Dennis, about the boat launch, although I take exception to the fact that it's not about parking, it's about launching the boat. Okay? It's one of the few free spots besides DNR because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Copper Bottom was going to charge you to launch your boat.
Right, but the DNR launch is free.
The DNR launch
And
is
if they're
free.
not gonna park there anyways, they're residents, they launch their boat and take their vehicle away.
What are the hours that you would be working?
Oh, typical, 7 a.m. to 4 or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night.
7 to 6, pretty much.
No, there's no good.
Yes.
If I could, first of all, I think it's impractical to close the boat. If you're there at any point in time, and I launch a lot of my own boats from there. There's many times when there's boat lanes, low lanes. The boats launching, it's very busy. And the DNR launch will accompany some of the larger boats, you can't get in there. Because you have to turn the boat around, that's impractical. I also agree with Shelley, having lived in Silver Lake. Kids use that, it's a walking area. With all deference to the homeowner, this might be done prior to Memorial Day or after Labor Day
Mhm.
some year, and take a look at what the residents are
Right.
using it. With all deference, I understand what you have to do, but you know, those are very busy parks and they have missed the time when it's most beneficial.
We completely understand.
Yeah. And I think after Labor Day, then school is in session. You don't have, the kids out like you would now.
You got a question?
Yes.
I'm Patty Zerlo. I was one of the people, even before Dennis, that helped organize Campus Island Lake District. And we too had to take into consideration school times, and I would agree with what you're suggesting. Maybe do it late August or something after the boating season has ended, especially because Silver Lake has more challenges of where you can do this.
Right.
And it does sometimes run over.
I would ask.
We're open to that.
Mhm.
So I guess then
This is the house.
would
Here's-
the homeowner wait until after
We're at your
Labor Day?
Have to.
Okay.
So I would ask for trustee Faber to reword his motion to start after Labor Day.
Yeah, I'll amend my motion to say that, to include that, start the dredging after Labor Day.
Sorry to interrupt, are we using the boat launch or the?
I think the boat launch. Yeah.
I think at that point, I don't think it really matters. if DeWitt Park is easier for the company and they have to repair it back to the way it was, I think DeWitt Park would be the better feature because after Labor Day, we now have to take the boats out. So we're right in that same dilemma as far as the boat launch goes.
Understood.
So do we want to set a time, a date?
Majority of this will be done during the week, and I think a lot of that activity is done on weekends, taking the boats out.
Could go either way, Dennis.
Good, but after Labor Day, the beach could be busy too if it's warm.
Yeah, but they're in school.
Do we know what the slips there, what their last day is to take boats out?
No.
Was it?
At the private
Okay, October
association,
1st.
at the private association, when I was managing the piers, it was October 15th. And I don't think you want to wait till October 15th for this, but
Yeah, again, we are completely open to whatever schedule works best for the community and you.
I would simply suggest then after Labor Day and DeWitt Park, let them use DeWitt Park. Because you're not going to get any boats coming or going out of there. You're still going to have fishermen.
Any other question? No? Do I have a second then?
Mid-September.
Let's put a date on there.
Let's go to September 15th. September
That's a
15th.
Friday.
That'd be a
So,
start date.
Okay.
a Friday.
I would suggest no weekend work.
Yeah.
And only work even when you're mobbing in and mobbing out. Monday through Friday, that's it. No weekends.
So I'm looking at the calendar and I think September 11th, which is the second full week of September. And then,
DeWitt Park.
Weekdays and between the hours of 7 and
6, 7 and 6, you said.
6.
7 and 6, I think the longer you have, the faster it'll
7
be
and
done, right?
6 weekdays only after September 15th.
Okay. September 11th.
Or September 11th.
Or
That's,
11th.
yeah, that's a Monday.
So really quick question, what happens if for some reason we start on the 11th and then we get torrential rains for 3 days? Then what?
You're up a creek without a paddle.
So you'll have to
Wait till the following month.
wait till the following week, Monday through Friday.
It's going to be weather permitting one way or the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I would also like to see a few more safety things go up, safety fence, have things blocked off, have the machines. Their master switches turned off, so if kids do get up there and stick screwdrivers in the ignitions. All master switches off on machines, vehicles, whatever's left. Everything's tied up properly and secured.
And to that point on safety, what kind of fencing are you looking at? I hope not snow fence. Can we put a chain link 6 foot high? I mean, at least
You
it'll.
can, there's 10 fence panels, 6 foot that comes.
And they do, there are companies that rent those.
Mhm.
Yeah,
that we have around the.
just making it more difficult for any younger child from getting on the equipment, yeah.
If I could ask, maybe we could work out, Brad and myself, work out the detail, get the agreement in place, get the insurance liability, all your suggestions in place and bring it back to the board.
Works for me.
Sounds good, Mike.
yeah, lots of time.
Like,
Right.
yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna table that? Table
Yeah.
that.
Am I good?
Okay, you're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna seek out.
Well, I need a motion to table that, please. To table.
the motion table.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Kelly. Okay, we're gonna move to the fire department discussion.
We need a vote.
Sorry, I'm new at this. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, Bill. Okay, now moving to the fire department. Discussion and possible action on the following items. Request for unit 6770, a 1978 Chevy mini attack gas rig to be sent to Wisconsin State Surplus Action. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second that.
And Young.
What exactly is
Auction.
Do we have any, Chief, can you add anything else to this?
Wisconsin State surplus?
It's the only thing I would say, revenue, a little hesitant to say what we would get for it. But they can low end 8,500, top end maybe 10 grand.
Okay,
Where,
Is that the old red one or is that the old white one?
It's it's a low
I'm
end.
just believe it.
Okay.
They send it up
Yellow
to
one.
auctions and it goes out.
I was close.
Well, they have
2 or 3.
Technically, that's still.
anybody have any questions? No questions?
So the board aware that's initial surplus. Basically, we send it to them. They come and get it. I think it's $100. I think. They come and get it. Now we deliver it to Mount Horeb. We have no further involvement in it. They come to check when it's done. We don't pay any seller fee.
We don't.
Is there a minimum reserve on that?
We can, but we have not in the past, but we minimum.
Okay. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Fire Department number 2, payment request for Stryker Lucas 3 compression devices funded by the Flex grant provided by the state of Wisconsin for a total of $26,709.82.
So moved.
Second.
Bill and Ronnie. Any questions?
Are we going to be the second or third in the county with these?
They're pretty tough with down.
Are they? So I thought Summers beat us to the punch with the first.
Summers purchased heads up device for the CPR. They actually overreached the top of it. So, and the state of Wisconsin stepped in and said, "Oh, we're not so fast because it's not part of the."
Can you explain to us, Chief, what these things actually are?
Compression device. So they create an arc over the body, slide underneath the back, cardiac arrest. There's an arc that goes over the top, and there's a plunger device in the middle, position over the sternum, and it does picture CPR, automated CPR.
Frees up the paramedic or something else.
A lot of people.
There are certain limitations to the device though, correct?
Size.
Chest size, I think it said 7.5 to 11.
Width, girth, whatever you want to say it.
Yeah,
People that are very small, it doesn't work very effectively.
right. So,
But the lion's share of our cardiac arrest.
and the 3 units, are they going to stay at the one station? Or are they going to be on each ambulance?
They'll be on all 3 ambulances.
Any other questions? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Public Works, discussion and possible action on the following. Payment request number 1 by Asphalt Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $233,088.50 for the 2023 Street and Utilities Improvements Program. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Faber, and a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions?
This is, go ahead. No, you're first. How far along are we with the street paving and utility work?
Most of the utility work is finishing up. So we gotta get all the 83 stuff done, so they're going to resurface that. Paving will take place July and August. So we're gonna have what the month of June.
With the few, at least I saw somewhere in one of these, a few of the sewer laterals had cracks or poles or whatever, and they were lined.
We televised them last year, and if we notice clear water infiltration, meaning groundwater is getting into them. We don't have a camera that can actually televise the lateral itself.
Okay,
As you sewer does, so they put their camera in, shoots down a smaller camera up the lateral. So we marked them, they went in and they televised the lateral, the ones that are, we know are leaking, we line right in.
okay, thank you.
Jared, did you-
Yeah, I was just wondering how many different bids did we go through? How many different companies threw a bid at this?
Paint and Dolan and asphalt,
Okay.
are those the two that we usually use?
usually Paint and Dolan, we get it every year, sometimes it's a payroll. And then
For many years, it's been painted on.
Yeah.
Last year, we only had painted on.
Yep.
And one contract bidder we had. We did have 6, I think, taken out and then. Not a lot of asphalt players.
Hmm.
And then there's a primary, so all the sewer work, all that's done.
Subbed out.
Contract, so.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of meeting with Brad this afternoon and going over the invitation to bid procedures and how that works and the draw statements and the waivers coming in. So we talked about it. We're gonna bounce it back and forth and see if we can tweak it a little bit. That'd be more in interest of the village regarding liability issues.
Do you want to elaborate on that at all or not yet?
I suppose after we dot the i's and cross the t's.
Okay. Okay. Yes, hi, Chris.
I have a question for the highway department. Do you have any intentions of painting the crosswalks in front of Riverview School on School and Prospect here? If you notice, they are very well deleted.
it's not on our radar at this time. So we can look at it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Planning and zoning, discussion and possible action on the following items. Ordinance 2023.05-67 and ordinance repealing provisions related to the zoning board of appeals and recreating the same as chapter 160 of the municipal code of the village of Salem Lakes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Hopkins in a second?
Second,
Can't. Any questions?
And again, this is just to somehow got missed on the codification, is that correct?
But there is one change, and I think it's an important change. In the existing ordinance, there's a requirement of 4 affirmative votes to grant a variance. This changes it to when a quorum is present, a majority of the person.
Simple majority. Okay.
Plus, we also added term limits and the wording, which I'm looking.
Changing the verbiage from citizen
To elector.
Yeah.
And also, Rich, do you remember exactly where the wording was? Oh, here. Under membership for A, the last sentence, no member of the board may concurrently serve on the village plan commission. I think that was all the changes, right?
Rich, could you please repeat your reasoning behind changing it from citizen to elector on an ordinance issue? Because I just think that denies, I mean, people could have gotten a felony in their 20s. Now say they're 40 or 50, they're active in the community and they want to participate. That basically is denying them the opportunity on an ordinance level.
Well, that's clearly a policy decision for the board. I suggested the term elector because when we discussed this just at staff level, the term citizen was too ambiguous. We didn't know who that, who would be eligible or not. So we were looking for a different term that would provide us with a definition we could go to to know who is eligible to hold it up. Elector is a term that's used obviously in the election process and has a particular meaning out of the statute. And it seems to meet the requirements also for persons to serve on the board because obviously they live here. Right? And so they have a stake in whatever decisions are made.
Versus a resident, which could be an out-of-state resident
Or
who,
a renter.
yeah.
Exactly. It's, I mean, no wording is going to be perfect. But what we thought at the staff level, at least, we're talking with President Hoover, was a term that we thought encompassed the conditions that we want for a board member to meet, but also that we could pin the definition on so we could force it.
So you think the word citizen automatically defines that they're a resident of the state of Wisconsin and reside in Kenosha County and are eligible to vote? Or would we just add that additional language? Must be a resident.
A lector accomplishes all those things. In my opinion, citizen doesn't necessarily.
Right. It just denies somebody who might have gotten a felony in their 20s can no longer be a part of the process.
Yeah, I understand that, and
Mhm.
clearly if the board wants to do something different there, obviously that's the board's determination. Because you as a board get to establish what are the requirements to serve.
Mhm. And to me, you can't really say, you know, if you were a mass murderer, you are not allowed, but if you got a simple, you know, something and you had a felony, then, so we can't really distinguish between the two. So I think, you know, we need to keep the wording, unfortunately.
But even with a
Just to-
felony, you can vote under certain conditions, correct?
Correct.
So just because you're a felon doesn't automatically waive your right to vote.
What would those conditions be? I'm not familiar.
I don't have the statute in front of me, but my
Yeah, I don't.
recollection is that even if you have a felony conviction and are no longer under supervision of the state, then I believe that you have your voting rights restored. Again, I don't have the statute in front of me, so could be mistaken, but that's my recollection.
Yes.
Any other questions? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we will go to the clerk's office. Discussion and possible action on the following. Number one, approval of operator licenses. Applications filed with the clerk with approval contingent on background check clearance and payment of the necessary fees. Class B beer and Class B liquor for Village Pub of Silver Lake, 774 North Manor Drive, Silver Lake, agent Nancy Dulick. Trade name Flip Flops 27000 85th Street, Silver Lake. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Gant in favor? Any questions?
Where is 27,085th Street?
This is the concession stand at the county or county park, Silver Lake Park.
They're gonna allow alcohol now?
Yep.
Wow.
Really?
That's gonna be a heyday on Sundays.
Any other questions? No? Okay. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, temporary Class B retailers license for Silver Lake Happenings, P O Box 327, Silver Lake, agent Laura Frankart. Trade name Silver Lake Happenings, Spring Car and Bike Show, East Lake Street, First and Second Street, and East Park Street in Silver Lake. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Hopkins in a second?
Second.
Favor. Any questions?
I got one question. This is just a single event on the 21st of May.
Yes, it is.
There's,
It says it's for the spring car and the bike show, so.
Yeah.
And I'll be at that event. I am actually one of the judges there.
oh. I thought you're going there to drink.
No, I'll
You
leave
got
that
your
for
bike in
you.
there?
I'll watch it. I'll watch for you.
All right.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, operators licenses for Seth, I think it's Zine. Do I have a motion?
What is this?
Operator license?
Well, who is he and what's,
He's got an application on the,
oh,
so,
Portal.
yep. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Hopkins in a second.
I'll second that.
Young, any questions? I take it we have not gotten the background check back yet?
Yeah.
They're all.
They are, okay, good. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, approval of minutes from the committee of the whole meeting on May 1st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll
A second. All right. Any questions? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes from the regular board meeting, April 10th, 2023. Those of us who were just elected were not present at this meeting, therefore we will not be voting on this. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. Ronnie and Hopkins. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 3-0. All right, approval of vouchers for April 10th, 2023 through May 7th, 2023. The amount has been amended to $708,127.41 as reviewed and presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Hopkins in a second.
Second.
Ant, any questions?
I do have some questions on some of the vouchers. For example, tonneau covers for vehicles.
Can you give the line item?
Yes. It's at the bottom, 5/3 of 23, check 71712 at United Canvas. Just wondering if it was what the tonneau cover was for. Was it for a fire truck, a regular truck?
Tonneau covers.
Oh, okay.
It's called a tonneau cover, it's for the post of the engine.
Yeah.
A little more than just a.
Right. Well, when I seen almost $2,000 on it, I was like, okay, what are we doing here? That's all I got for now.
Any other questions?
I do have one question. There was a recent article in the newspaper that Safe Harbors is now merging with Milwaukee Humane Society. Is that going to have an impact on any of the charges?
The agreement that I got was just that we acknowledged that they were entering. The page for pricing.
Okay, but we're still locked in for at least 2023.
Right.
Okay.
Why do we have two different cell companies? Are we using Verizon and AT&T? I see some people use AT&T, some Verizon.
All the
Frontier.
Phones.
Yeah.
Currently are AT&T. There's a couple of services, I believe.
Switch.
Are you still using a couple of them?
We're done with Verizon, we're using strictly AT&T.
Okay.
We only have a couple that we're still using for the SCADA system that AT&T doesn't provide that. As soon as they do, we'll switch that one. But at one time, the monitor, the SCADA system,
Yeah.
data, all that, Verizon.
Sure. Okay.
Just a question on the Amazon. Why do we buy fog lights on Amazon? Fog lights on Amazon?
I'm assuming either a lesser price or they couldn't find them somewhere else.
Okay. Who do we usually go to for that kind of stuff?
Usually, most of our stuff comes from Napa.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, at this time, we will do general public comments for non-agenda matters. And we have Mr. Wilkham. State your name and address for the record, please.
Pardon me?
State your name and address for the record.
Chris Welcome, 422 North School Street, Silver Lake. Something the board needs to be aware of. I've lived at 422 School Street for 35 years. Your golf cart issue is going to get this village sued. Why do I say that? I watched from our doorstep, we watched one of the golf carts get ran off the road by another car because that golf cart wouldn't move. Okay, then I watched the golf cart go into Riverview School. Okay, they went to Riverview School, there was 3 girls on it. They went over on the playground stuff, left the golf cart on the property. They left there, there was a kid on a skateboard. The golf cart aimed for that child. The child had to jump out of the way to get away from being hit. If that child would have got hit on Riverview School property, I believe the attorney would be able to help me out on this. If they would have got hurt and on the school property, the school would have been liable because that's their property. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not sure it's quite as simple as that. I mean, the school would have to have taken reasonable steps to prevent any kind of injury to the extent that the school wasn't aware that there was any misconduct going on and had no reason to know. They probably wouldn't have liability, but it's still an issue. I understand what you're saying. You don't want somebody to get hurt.
Yeah, I don't want any kid getting hurt at school in my watch. We watched from our doorstep. We didn't get that part on tape. But when they left, 2 of the girls were in the golf cart. And the other one was chasing the golf cart down the street. And they were chasing it and they wouldn't stop to let her back on. And I believe I don't have my tape with me on that. You have that tape?
It's gonna be up on the screen.
Oh, good.
Not now, in a little bit.
Okay, the sheriff's department was called on this. Deputy Bordeaux came, I advised the 2 boys that were there to stay there because the deputy's gonna want to talk to you. Deputy Bordeaux interviewed the kids, then came across the street to my house where I told the deputy, I have this on film, not the thing in the schoolyard, but I do have the girl chasing this golf cart down the street. You know, if there's somebody falls in the street, falls in the back of a golf cart, we're gonna have a big problem. So however you wanna, whatever you wanna do with these golf carts is entirely up to the board. But I interviewed a lot of people in Silver Lake that live on School Street. They've just about had it. There's mini bikes, motorcycles, everything going down the street. They're not wearing helmets. There's not lights on these vehicles. Golf carts don't have lights at night. Don't have license. How many of them have registered in the village?
8? That was it?
6.
8?
6.
So I know there was none.
There's-
None?
We need to do something about this.
So, I want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's all I got to say, but I hope the board really looks at this, and if we could get that tape, you'll see what we taped on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some serious issues.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to future agenda items. Are there any items anyone would like to see on a future agenda? I'll open that up to the public as well. Anything? No? So I am doing some research on a printed and mailed newsletter that I would like to have sent out every other month. I think it's really important to get the information out to everyone. So I'm working with the printers that I know, and I will be getting some prices. And some of the ideas that I had were to sell paid ads to help fund the newsletter. And if we have any extras, maybe we can work with the Parks Department to try to come up with something like the Salem Lakes Community Days. Be kind of nice. So I was actually going to reach out to Doug and just with an email and with some ideas. And I know that some others on our board also have some. So it's something that we'd like to put into place maybe next year. And then in June at the next cow meeting, there is going to be a gentleman coming to present for a recycling program that they would like to bring into our community. So he will be here to talk about that. Anything else? All I've got. Okay, I'll open it up for trustee comments. Bill? Either
To
Bill?
follow on to what Mr. Wilkham was talking about. Brian, can you key up those two short video clips, please? It's video clips of part of the incident where you'll see what appears to be young teenage girls jumping around in the golf cart as it's going down the road, with one of them at some point chasing it, trying to hop on. And you can see her running behind it there. And then she jumps on, it's moving, and you can see there's three now on that golf cart. Only one is fully seated, and that's the driver. The one in the passenger seat was turning around, trying to help the other one jump on that golf cart. The second video clip is the one as it's going down School Street. In a minute, you'll see there she is there chasing it as it goes down the road. And while they're short clips, it illustrates the point that we're having an issue. I've spoken about this multiple times. I'm asking for parental support in this. And I'll be honest with you, I said this before, my whole yes or no vote on any ATV, UTV is going to be warranted on us getting this golf cart under control first. Mini bikes, you got 9 and 12-year-olds riding this. And that's a fact, because the sheriff's deputy that I called stopped at the mom's house. And then of course accused me of a not so nice hand motion towards the kids as they went by, which with all the cameras in the world, not me by any means. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on it.
Mhm. Anybody have anything else?
I think, go ahead. I had the same instance in Silver Lake. This kid could have been 10 years old, and he has it's a little electric dirt bike. I mean, he's flying, he went over by the school, and I followed him right back to the parents' house. I said, your parents home? Sure. So they come out, and the parent, he says, well, it'll only do 11 miles an hour, and it's electric. And I'm thinking, well, I just followed him all the way from over by Riverview School. And I says, does he, here again, do you have insurance to ride this thing on the road? He says, well, it is no different than a bicycle. In which, you got hoverboards, you got bicycles, you got skateboards, you got this, you got that. I said, well, let me check with the sheriff. So I called the sheriff department next day, and he says, well, it's a very gray area. And what can we do? And I thought, well, wait, somebody gets clobbered and we're going to see what's going to happen. Okay. So how do you stop it? I don't know. The sheriff department doesn't know. What can we do? So, but the whole thing is as Bill said, enforcement. We need somebody to enforce this stuff. And I've said it for months and months again. And we have even had the sheriff in here. Okay. And he was going to beef it up. And I haven't seen anything more happen.
And to that point, I also sent separate correspondence to Captain Klinkhammer asking for stepped up enforcement. And I was told that he was going to speak to the deputies about that, and I don't know if that's taken place or not.
So I think definitely for this ATV, UTV thing, the sheriff's office needs to be involved in those discussions. Because I'm with Bill, unfortunately, if we cannot get the golf carts to abide by the rules, I would have a hard time passing an ATV, UTV because they're much quicker, much more dangerous. And unfortunately, for those who don't want to play by the rules, they could, you know, ruin it for everyone. So I would hate to see that happen, but you know, and again, I'll play devil's advocate. Maybe people don't know about the golf cart rules. And so newsletter number 1, that will be in there. You know, we definitely need to bring the sheriff's office into this conversation for sure. Yes.
The sheriff's probably more of a deterrent than anything else, because until you have an ordinance,
Mhm.
they have no power, no teeth, no nothing. So you've gotta put that ordinance together.
We do have an ordinance.
And
For golf carts.
We do have a written ordinance.
there's golf carts, but
And-
more-
No mini bikes, period. But yet they're out there.
So it's just more, get more deterrent out there, have them be out there more and see what happens.
Mhm.
So we both up to go out after we're out there.
And I can tell you that an incident took place with my son when he almost hit a mini bike rider on Second and Lake. He saw there were deputies over at the Silver Lake Fire Station, approached them, and this was all documented to Captain Klinkhammer as well. The date and approximate time, and the female deputy said, "What would you like us to do about it?" Knowing full well we had that ordinance in place already, and there are no mini bikes.
Yes, Pete.
So I just wanted to, I'm having trouble correlating mini bike use and golf cart use. Or golf cart use by children under the age of 16.
Mhm.
Like that's all not allowed, and why that would stand in the way of an ordinance for especially the mini bikes. It's not even part of what's being talked about. It needs to be addressed. I'm all about that, like getting it handled, but having that stand in the way of an ordinance for something else, the two don't mesh with me. I have trouble following.
So basically, on the golf carts, you have to be a licensed driver. Okay, you have to have a license to drive on the village roads. And these kids are driving them. A mini bike is against the law. If you have a driver's license, you can ride a mini bike. Okay,
On the
But-
road license.
well, basically, it's got to be a moped. Okay, size wise as far as CCs. But these kids, I mean, that on mini bikes or whatever, it's totally against the law.
Right.
Pete, just so you understand my point of view with this, I'm not gonna be naive and think that ATV, UTV drivers, the licensed ones, they're gonna be fine. It's the unlicensed,
That's the problem.
the unused, it's no different than these kids on a golf cart, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Okay, that's where I'm correlating the two together. Because if we can't get the golf carts under control, ATV, UTVs are gonna be worse.
So these golf carts that are doing these problems, are they probably 8 licensed ones in our community?
No clue, but I can tell you, judging by the age, I would say no.
Right.
So we're talking about unlicensed vehicles being a problem.
Unlicensed drivers.
But we talked about with the cart ordinance, that's actually gonna be, are those registered?
We should probably add this to a committee of the whole, we're way off.
Yeah.
On the agenda. It's up to you guys, but we should probably add that as one to discuss it.
Agreed. But just to answer real quick, my stance is more getting the sheriff to actually enforce the ordinance, so. Okay, any other comments? No? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Kelly, in a second?
I'll second it.
Bill,
Yes.
all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Anyone opposed?